Today's question is, what does the Bible mean by binding and loosing? In this video, I'll answer that question from a biblical perspective. Then afterwards, as always, I'll share some helpful resources, so stick around until the end. The concept of binding and loosing is taught in the Bible in Matthew chapter 16, verse 19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. In this verse, Jesus is speaking directly to the apostle Peter and indirectly to the other apostles. Jesus' words meant that Peter would have the right to enter the kingdom himself, that he would have general authority symbolized by the possession of the keys, and that preaching the gospel would be the means of opening the kingdom of heaven to all believers and shutting it against unbelievers. The book of Acts shows us this process at work. By his sermon on the day of Pentecost, Acts chapter 2, verses 14 through 40, Peter opened the door of the kingdom for the first time. The expressions bind and loose were common to Jewish legal phraseology, meaning to declare something forbidden or to declare it aloud. Peter and the other disciples were to continue Christ's work on earth in preaching the gospel and declaring God's will to men, and they were armed with the same authority as he possessed. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 18, there is also a reference to the binding and loosing in the context of church discipline. The apostles do not usurp Christ's lordship and authority over individual believers and their eternal destiny, but they do exercise the authority to discipline and, if necessary, excommunicate disobedient church members. It's not that the apostles were given the privilege of changing God's mind, as if whatever they decided on earth would be duplicated in heaven. Rather, they were encouraged that as they moved forward in their apostolic duties, they would be fulfilling God's plan in heaven. When the apostles bound something or forbade it on earth, they were carrying out the will of God in the matter. When they loosed something or allowed it on earth, they were likewise fulfilling God's eternal plan. In both Matthew chapter 16, verse 19, and chapter 18, verse 18, the syntax of the Greek text makes the meaning clear. Whatever thou mayest bind upon the earth shall be having been bound in the heavens. And whatever thou mayest loose upon the earth shall be having been loosed in the heavens. Matthew chapter 16, verse 19, Young's literal translation. Or, as the Amplified Bible puts it, whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper and unlawful on earth will have already been bound in heaven. And whatever you loose, permit, declare lawful on earth will have already been loosed in heaven. Jesus taught that the apostles had a special task on earth. Their words of authority, as recorded in the New Testament epistles, reflect God's will for the church. When Paul declared an anathema on those who pervert the gospel, then we know that anathema was already declared in heaven. See Galatians chapter 1, verses 8 and 9. Want to learn more? Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Visit gotquestions.org for more great content and check out the details section below this video. There you'll find one book I recommend along with several links to related questions. If you'd like to learn about Bible Munch or if you're interested in bite-sized devotionals, subscribe to Bible Munch on YouTube. It's linked right here. Now remember, got questions? The Bible has answers. We'll help you find them.